Hello, and welcome to week 2. It's mid-January, and it's very cold. Next couple days, it might drop below 0 Fahrenheit or like negative 15 Celsius. That is pretty cold. And that's good that you can watch this without having to trek to 2255 North Quad. So, I'm going to take this off because I'm inside and it's not that cold inside. So I want to welcome those students who've added the class late. I moved the initial due dates by a week for everybody to allow those late students to catch up. This will come as no surprise to you. Don't use the new due dates to delay. Don't just blow it all off and go, great, I can just wait till next week. The problem is then you've got like 4 to 5 hours of lectures and 8 very different assignments that you're going to try to do like Friday afternoon. It ain't going to work because, as you probably figured out by now, little things get you. And that's why we have office hours and discussions and more office hours, etc. Spread the work out, spread the learning out, give yourself more time to get help by not being up against the deadline. For those of you who've added late, I want you to start the material from the beginning, watch it all, and do it all in order. If you just rush to the last part, then it won't make as much sense. It fits together better if you just go in order. Don't worry, you'll get through it. Now that we're through a week, you kind of see how things work. The discussions aren't critical. There's value in discussions for some of you. Just talk to your GSI if you need to switch discussions. The answer will almost always be yes, unless one gets too overloaded, right? And so just your GSI has the ability to informally move you, and if you need formally to be moved into a different discussion, that's okay. The grading is all done on a course basis, not a discussion basis. Okay? So, also, now that you understand how the lectures work on Fridays, I have cross-invited the SI 664 and SI 364 students to the lectures. SI 664 is 2 hours on Friday mornings, and SI 664 is 2 hours on Friday afternoons. You have the Zoom, you can come in, I'm there to help. Literally, you have 4 hours of office hours on Fridays. I go to lunch with my GSIs in between them. Come on in person or come into the Zoom to get some help. I get some questions about how to study for the exam, and I don't have any good answers. The exam covers what you're learning. Watch the lectures, read the readings, take the quizzes, understand the questions, understand the answers. I tweak it every semester these days I'm making it a little more challenging. It's going to be on a few rooms spread out Friday during the lecture time on February 21. So for one day, you and I will see really how large this class actually is. So if there's something like travel or an interview or a conference presentation, right? We'll work with you. Just let us know, be honest, show us your travel documents, talk about what paper you're presenting at what conference. We're not going to make it all difficult. If you are approved for accommodations, don't worry about that. We're going to work that all out. I've already applied for the exam time. The accommodations folks know who you are. You filled out paperwork. They'll contact you when the exam is closer. They tend to contact you kind of at the last minute. So just relax. I've got the exam filed with them. You have your paperwork filed with them. They've never let us down before, so I'm not too worried about that. So let me walk you a little bit through this week's stuff. Okay? So first thing we're going to talk about is the shell. The shell is Linux. It's the bash shell. I'm going to have questions about it on the exam. I told you in the very last week that we want you to know Linux and we want you to know the shell. Not super great because you can learn it as you go, but like the cd command, the pwd command, the ls command, the rm command, the mv command. Just these are basic operating system commands, and I love command line because I can explain for you what to do, right? The hardest part in command line is keeping track in your mind of what directory you're in, but that's why I use the PWD. The CSS is the other topic. It's probably the toughest assignment for me. I'm a back-end person. I kind of know HTML. I can bang myself around in CSS. And so that's the hardest thing. I mean, if you tell me when you come in to office hours, like, I'm having trouble with CSS, you'll see me kind of like groan and roll my eyes because I'm like, oh yeah, I got to figure this out. So then I start Googling stuff, right? I'm not really a CSS whiz. I'm a front-end, back-end database guy, but not CSS for the look and feel. Now, in the next week, there is peer grading. I am not trying to make it painful for you. In peer grading, you should get 100%. Okay, I am not about you getting like an 80 from your other peer students. What I'm really about is I want you to see the other students' work, and I want you to learn from other students' work. If you, and I always encourage you to do everything early, if you submit early and then you go review other students' work and you learn from it and you think you messed up, you're allowed to delete your peer grading assessment, your peer grading entry, and you can resubmit it. But this is only if you're early, right? So don't wait, right? I'm also curious if anyone's using the how am I doing. It's a little early in this semester, but we look at it. For now, what we're really looking for is the few of the people at the very bottom that are like way behind. And so next week, we'll be talking about SQL and Django models, and it's on the way. We're going to pretty soon be halfway to the midterm, so don't fall behind in this first part of the class. Okay? Cheers. Hope to see you on Friday.